Well, hello there again, friends. Today is 4/23/2022, and today is the Odin Project Vlog Day 96. And I am wrapping up Project App JavaScript project, and this is part 5, and we are on number 6 here. Add a button to each book's display to change its read status. To facilitate this, you'll want to create the function that toggles a book's read status on your book prototype instance. Um, and so, without further ado, let's just get started. Excuse me. All right. So I'm starting out in the HTML here because I did go back and refactor a few things, and we'll go over that when we get into the script file. But so in creating the toggle button, I realized that it's just a sense of going back and having to refactor something because we, you know, I wasn't sure when I created the form. If you remember, and as you can see on the screen, all the input types are text. So when they start talking about like toggle button and changing a value from, one value to another, I quickly realized that having a text box was not going to be suitable because, as you know, you can put anything in a text box, and so it's very hard to programmatically write around that. So what I did is I changed the red uh, input to be a select. So it has an ID of red, a name of red, an option value of yes and no, and so it defaults to yes because if you remember on selects, the top option is always the one that's defaulted. So I'm going to write logic around, and basically, and you'll see it in the script file, but basically I write logic around it, like an if-then-else statement around whether the book that's been uploaded is a value of a yes or a no. So we'll go through that, but I just want to show you in the HTML that I did modify that, and you'll see that modification in the browser towards the end of the video here when we go over it. So that's all for that. Let's hit the JavaScript. So as you can see, I'll just peruse through this real quick. You can see all the extra commented stuff, the stuff I had in object constructors gone, from the exercise from eons ago that we started this off with. I removed all the comments down at the bottom from the before we had the input form because we were injecting manually to get things started. I commented all that out, and I ended up, as promised to you guys, I ended up not needing it in the project, so I got rid of it. So everything's clean. Everything is probably over commented really at this point compared to my other projects, but I just went ahead and left it. So most things have a comment. Actually, this one does not. So let's just put one in here. And this is what I was talking about with that if then else, but we'll go over it. I don't want to get out of order, but I'm just going to say run check to see what red value is present to toggle from. Run check to see what red value is present to toggle from. Okay, good enough. Alright, save that. Okay, so we're going to go up here and we're going to go over the changes for today. Okay, so here I had it highlighted and then I got rid of it because I started typing. Okay, right here. So we're going to create a red status button and add class attributes for each card array. So this is very similar to what we've already done. So this is a red status button takes on document.createElement button. So we're basically creating a button, and we're adding a class attribute of red dash 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 button, and we're adding some text to it called toggle red status. This is no different than before with the previous button of remove. So that's I basically just copy and pasted and just did some renaming. And then the next section is we're going to link the data attribute of the toggle red button to the array in the card. And this is just the same logic as with the remove button, so we can track, we want to track the index of the button tied to the current array item, so that when we toggle, we're toggling the correct card, not only the correct card displayed on the screen, but also the correct array item, array property, if you will, in the background. So we have red status button .dataset .linked array, and that's taking on the value of index. We've been over that before. And then there, for diagnostic purposes, I have a console log here to show me the dataset link for the red status button, and I'm just reading that out there, and then we're appending the child to the card just as we did before. So I won't go over all that in detail, because it's more replication. We've already done that. So next section, we have create event listener and toggle the logic for the array objects prototype to read status change. So here's the meat and potatoes of this section. Had to work through this a little bit. I had to actually go back and read quite a bit about not so much object constructors, but more on prototyping and how to use that in this scenario, because I wasn't getting very good searches on Google for how to use it the way I'm using it. So this way works, and I'll go through it now. Again, this way may not be the best way. It may not be the only way. It's just my way. I know I say that a lot, but I like to say that because I don't want you guys ever to think that I'm perfect, this is perfect, and this is the only way. Because I know you guys have been with me since the beginning. You know that. So some of the newbies that have come along may think that I'm a a lowercase g god of programming, and I am not. So I'm learning right along with you. So anyhow, with that said, we're gonna run a function. So we're gonna add event listener click. So when the red status button's clicked, we're gonna call toggle red status. So we have a function called toggle red status here. We're gonna declare a variable called retrieve book to toggle, and it's gonna take on the contents of linked array that we talked about above, which is basically just the data attribute set for the index that's compiled and ran through the for each loop. And then here's where we're gonna start some constructor stuff. So we have book.prototype equals object.create book.prototype. This line is probably not necessary, because from my reading, prototype of every single function and element, anything that's an object basically in JavaScript, will automatically have a .prototype available. It's just hidden, but it is there to use if you put .prototype in there. But I just put this in there to explicitly tell the runtime engine that I want to use book.prototype. So that's why that's there. I probably could do without it, but and then here's the magic where I'm going to, okay, so here I'm creating a constant variable called toggle book that's only going to be used within this function, and it's setting it equal to new book. So this does a couple things. One, it's calling the book constructor and adding in toggle book. However, the more important part is the inheritance. So what it's also doing is it's giving toggle book the access to all the methods and properties of the book constructor, which, to refresh your memory, which is this right here. So it's giving it access to title, author, pages, and red to that constructor, which we'll need for the next line. So here's a console.log, just asking what the initial value is. You'll see this in the browser here in a bit. And I'm calling out my library, and this is similar to what we had before. We're going to parse int retrieve book to toggle, because if you remember, that's a string. Please watch a previous video for more explanation on that. But we're turning it into an integer, so that we can tell the browser, or tell the engine that I want to see the my library current current index value, and I want to see the .read value that's applied to it currently. And then in this next section, we're going to run a check to see what value is present to toggle from. And this is just simply a if-then-else statement. So if, again, the same thing up here, if my library parse_int retrieve book to toggle.read. So I know that seems like a mouthful, but basically we're looking at my library, which is the array, and we're looking at the current index value. So say it's 0, as we used in the last video's example. So we're looking at my library 0, the index 0 position .read. If that .read value is yes, which is string text, that's why it's in double quotes, we're going to change toggle book.read, because we can do this because we're able to access both toggle book, because we defined it here, and the book constructor read property value, because of that link we made for the prototype. We got a no there, so then we're setting it to no anyway, because it was yes. We want to toggle it, and then we're going to update it with the next line. So my library parse_int retrieve book to toggle.read to equal toggle book.read. So that's just intaking basically no and placing it inside and writing over the yes on .read to be no. Else if it's opposite. So else if the position, in our continued example, if library index 0.read is no, then we're going to toggle it to say yes via the .read method on ToggleBook, and then we're going to update it to my library parse_int 0.read to ToggleBook.read, which should be yes. And so every time you press the button, it will change. This logic will run, and then it will run display book on page, as we did in the previous button, to resync and rerun the array, loop over the array again, and it will keep doing yes to no every time you click it. And that's the only thing that's all that's new as far as the script. Everything else has been changed. I will tell you, I did move incremental index ++ down to the bottom, still inside of the for each loop. I just moved it down here because I needed it to increment obviously after the this was ran, because otherwise it wouldn't update correctly. So because originally I had it right before the remove book, or right after this line right here, and that was fine before I added the next listener, and I needed to make sure that it didn't increment before that, because otherwise it would get all unsynced. The browser, what you're seeing on the screen, would no longer be data attributes would no longer be synced to the array. So that's why I moved that, and then all the rest of the stuff is the same, just cleaned up and commented as appropriate. So with that said, let's hit the editor, or excuse me, I keep saying that. Let's hit the browser here. So there's going to be a little bit of a visual change here too. Not much, just so we have our, I'll go over it as we do it here. So let's just put a title 1, let's just do zeros, because I like to match just for sake of simplicity, I like to match the input with the array index that we're creating. And we'll just say that's default to yes. So we have 0, 0, 0. Let's do a 1 and a 2, but this time we're going to do no. So you see there's a little bit different, and just to make things a little more pop a little bit more, make things look a little bit sexier on the eyes and on the screen. I changed the card background to this purplish color, and that's the only difference there. And then obviously we'll go over it, but I have a toggle read status button. So if I click this button, watch what happens to read a read. See, read yes went to read no, And then you can see here, very verbose, so I could troubleshoot. And so what we have up here, it says, where'd that change? Okay, what is the toggle initial value? It was yes, and that's just me diagnosing, using diagnostics to make sure that it was reading the array correctly. And then it goes through its iterations again, and now it's no. And so if we show my library, we still have three items in the array because we didn't delete anything, but the first 0 title with 0 index should now say no instead of yes. There you go. So originally it said yes, now it says no, and I can prove that right here. On this, just choose this one. So this is before it. Actually, no. I need to go up here. Come on. Okay. Why is that? I thought I could prove it. Okay, so it's changed. Oh, that's because it's looping through and already changed everything. Anyway, you guys see it. It was yes before, in the historical part. So, so I can change all these. No. Then it goes to yes. I can toggle it, see it goes back to no to yes, and see it reruns everything and runs the for each again. Same here. Same here. You just do it over and over again. And so now they all three should say yes. My library array, check it out. Yes, yes, and yes. So that's cool. And then obviously I made sure that the remove works. So we're removing. Now we should only have 2, and everything should be adjusted and updated. So we have 2 objects. Index 0 is 111 yes, and index object 1 is 222 yes. So we know that's working as well. Remove from library, remove from library. So there's how that works. Add new book. Let's just go through the the CSS a little bit here, and we'll just add a couple cards. Put no in there. So on the HTML side, you will see the the books. We have 2 cards, and we have our red status button data link array 0, data linked array 0. So that's going in good there. Excuse me. And the CSS styling, exact same thing as remove from library, except we use 6.7 to put it below the remove from library. Font weight 900, background color is blue. Obviously, I changed it to blue. Color is white so that the text can stand out from the rest of it. And border radius 10 pixels for the edge smoothness, just as we did for the remove button. So not much has changed as far as the CSS is concerned for the buttons. And then, so as you can see, it's got the links or the 0, which is good. There's your 1. The next one, and then on the form, we already went over this, but you have the form here, and we have the selector here for. What am I doing here? Oh, it's DOM manipulated, so it won't show up in here until it's created. I'm sorry, it's still there. What am I thinking? Sorry, guys. I didn't plan on going into this part. So here we go. It's hidden. Sorry, I forgot what I did. That was so long ago. So there's there's a select option there to display that, and I think that is about it. So You'll see the DOM manipulation here in action. I know we've been through this before, but we'll just show it again. So get rid of collapse some of these, make it easier to see. So we have books, class, cards. So you'll see removed, there it removed, and it removed the other one. And that is it. So that wraps up the project in its entirety. Make sure that you do your git commits and push up to your GitHub your changes for each section when you do them. I don't think I forgot anything else. I think it's good for this. So thank you for coming along the journey with me for this several part series. It was a little bit longer. A lot going on here, a lot to do. I hope you found it interesting and educational and enjoyable along the way. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content. And let me know in the comments section how you guys ended up with this. Did you find it difficult at times, or was it a breeze for you? So with all that said, till next time, see ya.